So just to get a gauge, how many people have tried on Google Glass? And how many have kind of been curious and checked it out online to see what it does and have an idea? Okay. Um, so I think glass is in a medium by itself, unlike anything else that you can imagine. And one of the first things I did with glass is kind of I got it on a Saturday, went up to Chelsea uh, at Google's office, and quickly put together a quick prototype in probably a day. Um, but it's very intimate, as you'll see, and I'll try to demonstrate. But one of the things I saw was you can do some different things in terms of design. You really have to pay attention to that. So here's one of the things as an example of, say, you're publishing. So this image comes from a photo blog, and it just struck me because I was wondering what's going on. Simple headline: a week of furious protest in Turkey. But seeing that card kind of in your visual space, glass is not like seeing a CNN website where there's 30 links everywhere. It's kind of just this picture. So it kind of resonates more, I think, than typical medium. So compare that with the same kind of content in a different manner. It's same headline, and then you get a little caption, but it's very different as far as the visual effect. So I'm going to talk mostly about designing for glass. I think the same principles apply whether you're designing for glass or other wearables. Say the Pebble or smartwatch is like Samsung's, or even Fitbit Force, and what have you. You have a constraint, and that constraint is either 4 lights or 5 lights on your Fitbit, or just a 640 by 360 pixels on your Google Glass. But when I first tried on glass, a buddy of mine who's creating a fitness app for it, Nov'13, let me borrow it. And the first thing I thought was, we made it to the future. There's no real words I can kind of describe and when you first try on glass, at least for me. But this is the closest I came up with. It's just awesome. I just thought of all the possibilities, all the stuff you can do. That's how I felt inside it, I guess. So what can glass do? It's really, there's some simple things it can do, like, yes, you can say, okay, glass, take a picture. You can record videos. You can ask for directions. I can find the nearest bar, look at the menu. Lights off is fine. And some of those things, people always ask me, well, you can do that with your smartphone. But I'll get into why that is kind of a big deal of not having to take out your smartphone and do certain things. So in my travels to New York, I got to kind of walk around the city, and this is one of the pictures I took, and I thought it was pretty cool, mostly because I was drinking coffee in one hand and eating a croissant in the other. And it's just a striking picture of how kind of effortless it is to take pictures kind of in the moment, where some of the other devices you can't do that. You think about your camcorder that you have, or even your big picture. One of the things I've seen at concerts and other venues where you see people holding up iPads, and they're watching the iPads instead of watching what's going on right in front of them. So it's that kind of, I guess, idea that kind of struck me as powerful. So one of the things I thought I was going to be doing with Glass, I thought I was going to do all these cool business type apps and kind of solve the world's problems and create the best killer app. But what I found out is I use Glass every day, and it's a very personal device. I have a 7-year-old daughter and a 3-year-old son. They run around a lot, so trying to grab my phone or go to the basement with my camera is kind of a pain because they move quick. And I'm sure every explorer can tell you kind of their aha moment where they said, "Oh, this is cool. This is why I have Glass. This is why it's different than anything else." And my, I guess, aha moment, I'll show you right here.
Sir!
This is my daughter, Hans.
And now
And something down.
same thing. As before, you're going to hold the board. They're doing front snatches as well. You're going to hold the board straight up and down until the top of the board slightly forward. Make sure to extend your arms all the way back. Extend your arms. Keep that! Same thing. What's the first rule? Measure your distance. What's the second rule? And what's the third rule? Measure one. Measure two. And three.
Woo! Good job, sweetie. She's awesome. Good job. Good job. You broke it. So I always show that, or I always talk about that story because that's when it kind of clicked for me that, this is different than anything else, and, it is a personal device, intimate device, I guess. But I can't think of any other device where you can kind of do that and hold, your son or daughter's board, iPhone, iPad. You can't do that stuff with. So some of the key concepts, and start to get into some of the design stuff now, is there's just a few concepts that you have to really learn and get familiar with. Development-wise, coding-wise, it's pretty simple for now. Right now, they have something called the Mirror API, which you call with HTTP. So anything that can do a call to RESTful web services, you can access. So that's why many people with whatever background, whatever language, most likely can create a glassware app. So the basic, thing that you'll find is the timelines, and the timelines are just you have a stack of cards basically going through Glass, and you're swiping forward, and the latest one gets sent to the front. And with that, you can kind of think of it as like a 3x5 card, and you put information on that if you're designing glassware. The menu, you can customize a menu from your glassware, changing the cards, and I'll let you guys see a little more about how that works and demo it once I plug in here. One of the things you can do is kind of subscribe to your users and find out what they're doing, if they're have they seen your card, what they're doing with it, if they're sharing information with you through contacts. Location is interesting. You can check a user's location every 10 minutes. So I experimented with this by, saying what app could I create where I can kind of pinpoint location. It varies. I found it's gone to like 12 meters to 25 meters in actual kind of pinpoint to see how far you are. I was trying to create an app, and I think someone did it to say, you're in this shopping area, here's a healthy suggestion. But I was thinking of creating an app to find out if I went to McDonald's more than like 3 times a week and kind of suggested I go somewhere else. Kind of a health app. Because once you kind of see it up here, it's kind of sticks. And that's one of the things to think about. You get a notification, an audio notification, and it's your choice to look up or not to say, okay, I'll look at this. Just be careful while you're driving. You might have heard about that instance. So sorry. So background: someone was Google Glass Explorer was kind of stopped for speeding while driving, and the officer noticed that they were wearing Google Glass and issued a separate citation for that as well because it's a monitor. But if you know that I don't have it on, I'm not recording you guys right now. It's off most of the time, and you can kind of tell when it's on. I mean, you know, I'm looking up and not really looking at you guys. So there's a lot of kind of things I found in looking up kind of design. I'm not an expert UX person by any stretch of the imagination. I do more things with web services, machine learning, and kind of managing data. But the one thing I did when I was rapidly prototyping is it's kind of a feeling, and that's you try it on, you create an app or glassware, and you kind of feel. So it's Bruce Lee always talks about don't think, you have to feel. I think that's what you kind of have to do. It's no kind of set formula for creating the perfect glassware app. Although with that said, I mean, the other term I kind of picked up on is a term of user interface friction. And if you think about it, what do you have to do to take a picture? You kind of have to, someone's following me on Twitter, you got to do this, find the phone app. I'm actually going to take a picture just to illustrate. Okay, just took a picture versus, okay, glass, take a picture. So I just took a picture, and if I want, I could say, okay, glass, share with Facebook. But does anybody recognize this code down here? It's the Konami code, up, up, down, down, left, right, BA. That's just to illustrate the touch. With glass, you can swipe forward, swipe back in your timeline or in your glassware and tap into things like bundles, which I'll demonstrate once I plug in. But you want to keep that user interface friction really low. The more effort someone has to use with your glassware, whether it's glass or anything else, the less likely I think they are to use it. So one of the interesting things about wearing glass is not many people have seen it. So I either get, is that a medical device to help you see, or they say it's Google Glass, and they get really close. I mean, like really close to you and start taking pictures, and you just kind of sit there and like, okay, this is not weird, but I would never want to be famous because that is weird. I was just standing looking for a restaurant, and a couple came by. But in the time, and again, by the time he kind of fiddled around with his camera, I already took a picture. So it's kind of all about the sight, sound, and touch, and I was just kind of talking about how you can get the audio notification cues, and you can hear when something's happening. But it's really easy to do. You have this thing of speakable text. So going back to that first slide, if you have a picture and you want to relay some information behind it, you can set that speakable text and have Glass speak it to your user, and it will just speak it so they can focus on the picture or maybe the directions or map or something else and not have to read, because this device I don't think is the best for reading long articles. So that's just something to keep in mind. And again, the touch, you want to keep it very simple. Having said that, my first attempts at Google Glassware were pretty bad. This is what Captain Picard, kind of gave me the facepalm. Color is pretty important, as I find out. And you can see some of my slides, or most of my slides, are kind of black background and the white. I'm actually using the same font they use in Google Glass. It's Roboto. You can download it. But using something like a white background, it's kind of like someone shining just white light in your face. It's probably a bad idea. But one of the things you take away, they have a bunch of templates and CSS that you can abide by. But once you learn that, I think you can kind of push forward and do your own thing. A good example of this beta app is XFit. It used to be called GlassFit by my buddy Noble. He kind of took, and he's kind of a UI expert, he kind of took the CSS and kind of went past it. He kind of pushed the limits and is doing some really cool, interesting things with glassware. So I want to take a second, okay, switch back. I want to show you guys this on mirroring. Can you guys see that? So here's the timeline. I'm kind of playing with this tool they have online. It's the Google Mirror API Playground. And if you have a code, you can, what you get with your kind of Glass Explorer device, you can send cards directly to your device without a glassware. But I use this for rapid prototyping because you can quickly kind of look at the templates they have. You get your basic one here. I don't know if you can see in the bottom left. They have either JSON or HTML. And this is just the downloadable CSS you can play with. But this is all you really have to do with the content of your card. And like I was saying, pictures kind of go further. You know, simple title, pictures. I experimented with many different combinations, kind of putting a little picture and then more text. I quickly found out when you have a lot of text, it just doesn't work. Doesn't work well, at least. If you have a lot of text, you should think about using speakable type. More examples for an agenda. And this is a good example. If you have a list or a long list, they have this idea of kind of auto-paginating. So you can tap and then scroll, and it's a little easier to see. A profile, simple profile device, timeline card, sports scores, an idea of what they would look like. And it works pretty fast. Yeah. So I just got that card. I just put that sample card here. But you can go in if you want to see something different and play with it. That is that. So my thoughts is, you know, what can you do that I always get the question, what can you do with glass that you can't do with your cell phone? I have clients in the construction business and healthcare industries, and they're giving me ideas. I kind of let them see it, and they kind of quickly come up with ideas. But you can come up with probably a more boring idea that I think a lot of people would use. Think about timesheets. If I could say, okay, Glass, you know, send timesheet, 8 hours marketing, Friday. It used to take me like an hour when I was working for a big consultancy to do a timesheet. But if you could do simple things like that, I think they'll take off in the enterprise. You don't have to kind of solve the world's problems and make that killer app that does everything. Another thing I saw was IT support. They were installing the same suite of software on 10 different computers. They just had a ticket they can automatically close out, see the list of software. I think you can kind of make things simpler for people. In the construction industry, they've talked about punch lists. You know, they could say, oh, that's the electrician screwed up there, take a picture, send to the supervisors. Healthcare, who's in room 14, what do they need? They're requesting more meds. But everyone I talked to in a recent panel I did, they came up with more ideas. Someone worked, I think, for Verizon, and they were saying when the people go up there, the technicians go up there, it would be useful for them. So my point of view, at least, is I think glass will take off in the enterprise, and you'll see a suite of not exciting apps, but useful apps. So one of the things I wanted to do is, I wanted to kind of demo the device. I'm going to plug in and kind of show you what I'm seeing. But I also wanted to see if we can kind of prototype. I know I gave a kind of fast overview of glass, but I want to see if we can kind of either split into teams or you guys individually can just sketch up a couple of prototypes for glassware. So to give some guidance, while you're kind of thinking about that, I think maybe 3 things you can choose from would be, and these are real problems. So one of the things with glass, I think people are struggling with, the glassware developers, is how to launch an app. Because at the main menu, which I'll show you, there's like 7 items, but it's not clear of the best way to launch an app. People have tried to do things like pin it, so it'll stay there. But if you have 30 apps, it's kind of unmanageable. One of the other things to know is the timeline cards. They decay after about 7 days, so they're just not always there. I wish there was a way to kind of search your timeline. A couple of other explorers have kind of said that's a good idea. I can say search timeline for appointments or search timeline for whatever picture. And then finally, a good problem is think of something that would make your work easier, whatever you do. It could be interesting or someone else's job you can think of that would be a little easier. So if you guys want, you can split up or into teams or do individual kind of sketches of glass while I set up and kind of show you how glass works from my point of view. I have paper I can pass around if you guys want to play with it. So it's going to take me a minute to kind of plug in here. So I think one of the questions was just asked. I kind of show you the basics of what it can do, and I'll demonstrate in a second. But glass also has maybe 10 sensors, compass, where when you ask directions, when you turn your head, the arrows turn. But there's some interesting things you can do with the sensors. They have a glass developers kit that's not officially out yet, but they just invited developers to a hackathon in San Fran to test it out. But that's when you'll get access to the sensors and make Android type of glassware. All right. Can you guys see that all right? Okay. So when I tap, I'll let you guys get settled. So if you guys have a second, if you've chosen, if you've chosen kind of what you're gonna prototype, I think we can choose maybe 1 to 4 uh, folks who want to come up here and maybe prototype it live and kind of see what it looks like for themselves on glass. Not sure how we'll pick, but here's the menu. If I say OK glass, I can look up and down. No, don't take a note. OK glass. You can see the menu items, and you can kind of think that how many things can you add to here? I mean, it is a lot. And if you have to launch your app, you can typically do it with. Sorry, I just took a picture. You can typically do it with, say, take a note, or you can have your own kind of OK glass, let's get fit live demos. So that's kind of the menu part, and what I was saying where you swipe forward and backwards is the timeline cards. You can see the 8 minutes ago. Twitter, Charles Webster.
Hey, I want to get the picture.
Okay.
This is so self-referential.
This is meta.
Right, now,
I think this is meta.
Right, you can like point at me or something like that. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I
don't know.
Focus. I got another one.
Okay. I get a lot of weird requests.
It took a picture of you as well?
So that in the background is, I think you took a picture of me. This is very meta.
Hey, I took it. Yeah, I tweeted a picture of him.
Yeah.
And I just took a picture.
That's his tweet. Yeah, it's weird. I'm gonna show you some. So here's that little flag there in the corner. That's called a bundle. I don't prefer to use that because it's kind of an extra thing to do. But here I think it might make sense. But with a bundle, that means there's stuff underneath. So I would tap in and kind of look. Oh, I have this Nova UX November Meetup thing. Okay. Something else, tech review thingy. And when I first started, I said, okay, Glass, find me the nearest bar. And then I can usually go in, tap in, show results, and then, Chili's, wonderful bar. Let me view the menu. Let me call them and make reservations. Get directions. Let me see if I can do that. That's kind of interesting. And you kind of see that kind of loading thing at the bottom of the bar.
Did you say you can add a voice command to launch your app?
Yeah, you can. I think that's a newer. One thing to note. I'm gonna stop this. Not going to Chili's. One thing to note. It's kind of like Christmas. Every month, the Glass team kind of delivers new software, new features. So it's like we're on XE11 now, I think, and you get all these new features. A couple features months ago, we got the ability to look at YouTube results. You can look at websites. Looks kind of weird, but you can actually look at regular websites by doing this, kind of looking around. Don't know why you'd want to do that, but you can. So one of the reasons they use a black background is it is translucent. So you see that contrast. So this black background, I'm looking right through it. I can kind of see it, but I look right through it. Like I said, I made the mistake of using white, which is blinding when it's this close to your eye. But it's kind of like looking at one of those big screens. They say like 25 feet away, but except it's you can see through it.
Anything with transparency as well on top of that?
You can probably tweak the CSS in line and make it more transparent. The black here's an example of New York Times. I usually turn this app off or this glassware off because it's every hour and whatever they think breaking news is really not breaking.
You can't customize it. At least they're at.
New York Times.
Yeah.
So each glassware maker kind of does their own thing. You can have settings. CNN does a really good job where you can say, I want health and tech served up to me between 4 and 6. New York Times doesn't have any of those settings. It's one of the first ones. That's probably why. It's kind of probably the first website or glassware. But you know, they kind of have a mix of pictures and yeah. You can't hear it, but this has bone. Okay, stop. It has bone conduction. At least I have version 1 still. Version 2 has the ability to put an earbud in it, which, what's that? So it works in 1 as well. I don't have the earbud, but bone conduction is not that great in terms of audio quality. I don't use this much for talking on the phone, but I will do reply to text. If my wife sends me a message, I'll just reply quickly.
Voice dictation to reply to your wife?
Yeah, I'll say, okay, glass. So you can see, I'm not going to say it, send a message to, and then I can either, well, I can call as well, but send a message to, and it's a text. What scrolling? Yeah, so I can say, okay, glass. And I'm scrolling with my head. I know I look pretty silly probably, but just to show you.
But you have to tap this.
No, I could just say, take a picture.
David, can you tag your media?
Okay, glass. Share with, and then you can kind of share with a bunch of, no.
David, like, can you tag your daughter's karate videos? You can easily pull it up.
What do you mean?
Like give it some like label like you would like with Gmail, so like that you can pull up, you can search on karate and get all the videos associated with karate class.
You can do a Google search on here.
But like, how does it know that it's a karate video? I guess unless you tag it.
Oh, your own personal videos?
Yeah.
I don't know if you can do search on your own personal videos, but you know it has feeds to Google Plus and Facebook and Twitter. Yeah, but I don't think it'll pull it up if you just request it. That may come. That's up to the glassware developers of how they kind of create the app. One thing to notice is I can see my pictures I just took just backed up to Google Plus, so it automatically will back up to your Google Plus account. So I showed you guys to the right more text tweets, but and some examples. But to the left, I'll show you a prototype of an app I'm working on. So to the left, you can pin cards or your Google Now cards if you're familiar with Google Now. It's kind of like a personal assistant. So you'll see this is just a prototype of an app I'm doing for the Atlantic. Simple. If you tap in, you can either read more, or if you want to look at the image and read it aloud, you can. Read more. You can see that bar kind of shows you the text, that there's more text. The pins right now only last 7 days, so they kind of expire. So I pinned some things I'm interested in. Wow, traffic home. Someone's birthday from Google Plus. My sports scores that I'm interested in. Not that interested in that. The weather. It does the Google Places nearby. So it always does this. And on Fridays, I don't know if it does it for everyone, but for me, it thinks I want to skip work and watch movies, so it shows me the trailers for movies. They just pop up here, and I get tempted. It shows up like Friday morning, and all the movie theaters near you.
Does it have its own like data, its own radio chip?
So it can connect via Bluetooth and with your phone and your or Wi-Fi. So that it works better with Wi-Fi if it's a fast connection. see what else can I show you. So, yeah.
David, I have a question. This looks like it has possibilities for disabled people, like paraplegics. Is that true? Because it sounds like you could do everything by the voice command.
Yeah. So there. Turn this off. So there are two, I believe, two Glass Explorers that are paraplegics, and you could probably look up their. They're stored in Google Plus, but they're using it, and they kind of can do more because you can interact with the device fairly easily. And that's one thing to learn. If you want to learn more, you don't have Glass yet, going on Google Plus and just searching through Glass, I think is a pretty cool thing to do. See if I can find it. Yeah, just the hashtag through Glass. You can kind of see what everyone's doing. I don't think you need to log in. This is Noble. He takes pictures every morning, kind of demonstrates, what he's doing with Glass. But my opinion really is you're just kind of touching the surface or scratching the surface on what Glass can do, because the next wave of apps that have access to sensors and then kind of work their way into your daily life, I think it's going to be pretty amazing. I know there's other companies already out there. Recon Instruments, they make something called Jet, which seems more rugged, and it's Android based. I haven't played with it, but it is interesting. And then Glass Up, I think an Italian company has Glass, but it's more like glasses, and it's kind of green visuals. So I want to give you guys, I don't know how we are on time, but maybe 5 minutes or 10 minutes to kind of prototype something, and if you guys want, you can come up here and we'll try to make it look good in Glass. Yeah, so you have 10 contacts. You have a limit of 10 contacts you can set up, and you can say call, Joe, Mom, Dad, that kind of thing. Yeah. Yeah, it comes from Google Contacts. And yeah, you might have to adjust the names to be phonetic. I had to adjust my brother's name. There are games. There are hackathon contests out in San Fran. Someone did a lot of Dart code, and they created Frogger. So to get it to work, you actually had to jump. So you see people jumping across the room. That's dangerous. Yeah, hopefully not in real traffic, but someone start jumping into the wall. But I think there's that and this what's that old game, Missile Attack or Missile Defense? So you'd look up and kind of shoot missiles like that. So it has that augmented reality kind of thing going.
I have a question about asset switching. So you got your iPhone, you're walking down the street, you want to send a text or something, it's pretty slow. You kind of have to stop and balance things going. Is it easier with Glass to move between, like, I'm just walking along to call or something? Is it seamless? Or is it still kind of a delay switching back and forth between what you're going?
Right. For me, I don't use email that much. I've turned email off from Glass because really no one emails me. And if they do, it's like a long letter that I'll read in my spare time. But this is like on the go. I can see that, I get a notification now. If I'm busy, I won't look up. But I have Field Trip, which is kind of seems to be made for Glass. So if I'm, say, in the city, I'll get a pop-up and I'll look. It's like, this is so-and-so historical marker. But I can keep going. It's pretty seamless. I'm kind of walking. I get a tweet. I'd look up, okay. And I'll reply to the tweet or go out, go to something else. Yeah, it's pretty seamless because I wear this during the day, and my day job is I'm coding. So you're sitting at your desk, and the little things of just switching to say Facebook or some other app, or even taking out your phone, that just takes time. Not saying that we're going to be all lazy, but the simple things like if I can do my timesheets by just saying okay, Glass, 8 hours Friday, that's the simplest thing I could think of, but I think it'll kind of improve life in that manner. Oh, that is expensive. And I don't know if they came out with like a gold-plated one, but no. So the Explorer program, at least for the version that I got, was 1,500 plus tax, and then whatever it took to get to New York, San Fran, or LA. I don't know what it is for my friends. I think it's 1,500 for the new Explorers, and then if they want to buy accessories, it comes with two shades, or at least mine did, with the clear shades and the dark shades, sunshades. And then the new ones, I guess, come with the earbud that plugs into the USB or mini USB. Ah. And you got an invite, right? Yeah, that's right. I remember. Okay. Battery life, it's getting better, but so I did do a martial arts session with my buddy Noble. We both had glass, and we went to do Jeet Kune Do, Bruce Lee's art. That's why you see all that Bruce Lee stuff. And it started getting hot after 30 minutes, and the battery was kind of dying. But I've heard by the software, the battery's better, and then version 2, the battery's better. So I'm getting ready to swap out with the new glass.
Can you explain that? How would you swap out? What is that?
So the swap out is they offered a swap out for existing Explorers who bought it before October 28th. And basically, it's a one-time deal. You get to take I guess you send this back, the version 1, and you get version 2. I don't see that many differences in version 2 besides the earbud that it comes with. So it'll be interesting. I don't know if it's lighter or slightly bent differently. Yeah, I kind of contacted them. That's one thing I'm surprised at. Their support is awesome. I mean, they have office hours. You can just talk to them online, Hangouts. They'll call you if you have any problems. I mean, they really, really have good customer service. Hopefully that goes for other companies as well. No, I got an email, and then I filled it out, and I was kind of anxious, so I kept emailing them. Where's my version 2? So hopefully it's coming November, so hopefully it'll be here soon. So any other questions? You can keep asking questions, but I was hoping I can get at least one or two of you guys to come up here and maybe we can prototype something.
I have a question. So what if you already wear glasses? This gentleman here, you know, can you just put it over your glasses?
It depends. Yeah, he's actually the expert about. I think you have trifocals.
I have trifocals. I actually visited a bunch of eyeglass shops to basically fit eyeglasses. And I found a set that 4 solid points. It's positioned perfectly. I also got an absolute maximum depth in this direction. And everything is, when they fit you, actually fit you. It's really good. They actually on board glass when we fit glasses to me. And then people say, well, it doesn't work with direct glasses. Well, no, it works with glasses. Glasses are any direct glasses.
Do you have to buy new glasses?
Well, the glasses I had before this were not bad, but I could tell they weren't optimal. And so now probably in the future, they'll have the option of some fancy frames or whatever. These are cheap.
Right. In version 2, from what I hear, it's if we look at glass, it's just this titanium thing, and then here's the battery, and then glass is this part. In version 2, I hear you can take that part off and you can use regular glasses with it. I don't have version 2, so I'll have to wait and see how that works. It took me probably 2 weeks to get used to this because I don't wear glasses, but I don't notice it anymore unless people kind of stop me and say, "What is that?" Any other questions? Yeah, because yeah, they also have a My Glass app on your Android phone or whatever phone you have, and you can actually control it. And it's really for demoing to say, all right, swiping here. And I use this when I let other people try on glass, just to kind of guide them, help them see what you can do.
Have you been able to do Chromecast by chance?
Yes, I do. That's pretty awesome.
Can you do that connect to class?
So that's a frequented asked thing on Google Plus in the communities. People want it, not yet, but I can't see why they wouldn't do it, because I do that just with my phone. And by the way, just because it's glass and you can talk to it, I think the direction is for all mobile devices. I could say, okay, Google, now, what is the weather tomorrow? Well, I'm using Moto X.
Tomorrow's forecast for Vienna is 54 degrees and clear.
But I can play music. I mean, this is kind of the direction everything is going. You think about UI and UX, really, it's seamless. I have this in the car dock and say I start playing music this way. I call up YouTube videos, press a button, it goes to Chromecast. My TV turns on and starts playing whatever video I'm dealing with. So.
However, micro USB, MHL, and HDF works great. So you're screencasting. So having to go through that time.
So there's like a lot of discussion around privacy with glass.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, oh, you're taking photos. So as someone who uses it a lot, you also have to take it.
Yeah.
Are those fears just kind of wonkish and silly, or are they well-founded, or is that something that explorers talk about?
Yeah, when you first get it, I warned my friends I gave invites to. It's like your privacy is kind of gonna be different now, because if you go anywhere, gym, grocery store, people are gonna be walking up to you, and I think it's pretty cool because I actually get into conversations with people and we talk about other things, like a minute on glass, and they're like, we talk about soccer. Or this one lady I was talking to, she was trying to convince her 20-something-year-old son to switch to Ubuntu, which is a fascinating conversation. Yeah, it was pretty cool. But privacy-wise, if you guys see a bunch of pictures, from, say, this event, you're going to know who did it. It's like the guy with the bright orange glass on. You can't really... There's better ways to take secret pictures, like a lapel button or some other covert means. So this is the worst spy device. It's like, it's that guy. The other ones kind of blend a little more, the shale and charcoal. I think I put a hat on. I think it's invisible, but it's really not. Yeah, well, yeah, it doesn't work. But the privacy concerns, I don't think are founded. I think my unofficial figure, 80% of the people I talk to, they're like interested in technology, or oh, that's cool. And then the 20% are, yeah, they're tin hat, saying the NSA is listening, which we all know that's impossible. So it just depends. Yeah. So does anyone want to venture up?
Just one question.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned augmented reality. Finally, interesting because of your but at the same time, it seems like you're either focusing on the screen or you're staying further away. Be able to consume it together.
So I don't know. Right now, I don't see this as, doing the augmented reality thing, so I can overlay. It's not Iron Man, where you just have a whole bunch of stuff happening. That would be very, that'd be tough to deal with. But it kind of just adds that little snippet of information quickly when you need it. I think there's unofficial apps that are coming out. There's a whole process you have to go through to get to be an official app. But I think we're just, starting to see some cool apps. Once you start tapping into the sensors and interesting things, I saw someone who was using this WearScript. This guy, I think PhD students from Maryland, are using it to help people who can't see go grocery shopping. So take a picture of some aisle, and then they can say, using a mechanical Turk, which is actually humans, but the Amazon Web Service, that they could say, all right, on the bottom shelf, that's the Lipton iced tea, so that's where you want to go. So there's some interesting uses that I know I haven't even thought of yet. Oh, cool. Brave soul. Mhm. Okay.
So I guess we were saying it'd be really nice to have it where you've got the camera and you're like, hey, you're the person I talked to at the last time we met up. I wish I knew your name. So is there any way we can say, Google Class, who's this? And it helps me with.
John, it would be obvious if they heard you say that.
I know.
Okay, Glass.
I was thinking about that. We never would always do that.
Yeah.
So, is that what you're?
Oh.
So, the card you might get for, say you saw this person.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So we've got their name. Maybe in this case, this person's at US.
I'll make a
Yeah, sure.
obviously James.
Jill, sure. Jane, perfect. Yep. And we just had a last scene too.
What's the tweet? Cool, Glass.
Oh, it's just the last tweet this person did.
Okay.
We can say last tweet.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's do.
That sounds great. Okay, so the idea here.
Hey guys.
But yeah, so the idea here, I know it's not that genius, but we just had literally like, who is this person? If there's some company they're associated with, and then just when is the last time we saw them, right? If we can recognize their picture, and then what else have they done? Okay. That was actually what's the kid's idea?
So that's a quick, and that kind of illustrates it's pretty easy. You can play with the HTML. So one of the, pull this off here. There's a company actually doing that. It's something similar called Social Radar, I think. Yeah. And are they doing the thing where you just go to one of these places and you can find out a little bit about who's close by? Yeah. So I guess it gets your location and maybe it reads all the social media things, streams, and looks up Meetup and says you're probably here, and it can figure that out. Anyone else want to venture up?
Oh, okay, to say, someone here has a suggestion that the name of this app is Close My Game.
Close my, what's that?
The app's name is going to be Close My Game, so it doesn't sound like a...
Oh, close my game. Okay. Hey, it's you. Yeah. I know you. Yeah. That's pretty cool. Anyone else? I'm trying to think of some cool apps I've found.
Is there anything out there, David, now where I can run into you and I can share, like you can bump people and exchange like this information in their way, like I can
Share my Glass timeline card.
share, like a piece of that thing that they use.
Like I could share this card with you right now.
Or like say you had a card of you, right?
Mm.
That you want people to buy.
Like a business card.
Huh?
Like a business card or something.
Yeah.
That'd be a good app. Yeah. That would be cool. If you get, well, right now you can, if people subscribe, like if you have two Glass Explorers subscribe, you can figure out, okay, these two people are very close, within, say, if they're within 20 meters of each other, email them, or not email and send them cards with each other's contact information. That's like an afternoon of work. Could do that pretty easily and call it something.
Idea for like a travel app, like if you wanted to share a tour you had done in the city, that you could tag places and photos, and then someone else could travel there and they could retrace your.
So that's so I thought of that. I thought of something like that, but it was like the what do you call the game where you scavenger hunt?
Yes.
So you tag pictures and they have the geo information, or you set the geo information, and you can go to interesting places because you can go to the off the beaten places. Like if you go to DC, you don't have to go to the monuments. You can go to I don't know, Ben's Chili Bowl or Meridian Hill Park and see some other interesting parts of DC. That's a good It's a good idea. Oh, go ahead.
So, you know, when we go to conferences and people, the guy walks around with a microphone with a question, you could just have people text into your Google Class, and you could have a running set of cards of questions and contributions people want to make during the meeting. You wouldn't have to have the guy with the microphone.
Yeah, I always found that is awkward, how they kind of...
Or at least if you're understanding what they're saying, or what their question might be.
Yeah, so whoever's speaking could kind of see, oh, here's the question by someone, like, in the other room. It's like, okay, I see that.
Their photo.
Yeah, it's like so-and-so just asked this question. Okay, I don't have to repeat the question and try to figure it out, parse it.
You could actually ping them back and ask them to come up to the front.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I think that's a good idea. I don't know if anyone's done anything like that, but I know you can do something like this. You can say, okay, Glass, Google, how do you say hello in Chinese? Sorry. So a lady was just saying, ni hao. So you'd want to record that, and then, yeah, you'd have to have it, go out to a translator and parse it and figure out what. But that's a good app. It's a translation app, basically.
What about on those same lines, the augmented reality? I can't read the language of the country that I'm in, and I'm looking at signs, I'm looking at menus at a restaurant, and it can translate. There's apps for this on the phone.
Yeah, I've seen that where a sign's written in Italian, you just put the augmented reality app over it, and it changes the letters to be English. I think that's possible. No one's done it yet. But think about Google Goggles, that standalone app where you can just scan a picture of something and it'll say, this is the Washington Monument, and give you context about it, or this is Times Square. So I think that's very possible. People have been trying to put Google Goggles on here, because you can sideload apps, regular Android apps, and just kind of connect them and put them on here, on Glass. Too much of this. Yeah, I think it works in some contexts, but for, if I can find one, there can be a lot of tapping, and it's like tap, tap, Well, you kind of, let me see if I can find a bundle. Oh yeah. Go all the way back there. You can do a fast swipe to. See, this kind of makes sense to have a bundle here, because it's not too much, but when you're getting content like this, this is settings, but if it was an app that showed you, like, you click in here and then you get 10 more cards, it's just, I don't know if you should just split it out into more cards, because you get unrelated cards. Like New York Times, I think you get 3 stories in a bundle and they have nothing to do with each other, and then, I just think it takes away from the user experience to focus on one kind of thing at a time. What do you mean, visible? There is, but it's kind of like a little line at the bottom. Let me see if I can find one. There's a little line at the bottom. If there was something that took 5 pages, it would kind of auto-paginate, and you can kind of see that line would be smaller. So that tells you what's going on, and then if you were loading a website or something, you'd kind of see like a dotted line at the bottom. All right, anyone else or any other questions?
Is there any video editing on there? So, like, say, take a video and you can sort of edit it, like,
Oh.
so that you're not storing this video.
Yeah, by default, you get if you say record a video, it'll record 10 seconds, and then you can press the button to keep recording. What I want, or what I wanted is for the ability to quickly do a slow-mo replay for, say, NFL referees. So I can see what they're seeing. It can, instead of I guess now they go into some booth, little hood, and it goes to like a 10-minute commercial break. But if they can just get a quick replay, slow-mo, I could see if they saw it or not. What's that? Well, yeah, I think that's money. But something like that, it'd be kind of cool seeing it from the ref's eyes. I've been kind of building up the courage to play soccer with these, but still afraid of getting hit headers.
Yeah, I was thinking it'd be great for basketball because it's like a game of tape, but it's easy to see stuff from that angle that you're wearing it while you play, and you can see what you missed in your own court. Again, it's that whole the basketball can get it, or somebody can hit you in the face.
Right, and one of the things, maybe I should show a kind of a soccer clip, but it's not gonna. The camera's up here, so what I was surprised about it, I didn't see my legs because I'm kind of looking up, and I don't even see the ball until like it's kind of like in front of me as I kick it. So I think that's the same thing with basketball. You can probably Google a bunch of basketball clips and see how that looks. But some people have said the camera. You have to be aware that the camera's here on this side. So you could be in basketball if you're doing stuff like this. You're missing you might be missing some stuff that normally you see in your peripheral.
It's like a photo of the movie of your daughter.
Yeah.
You start off looking at her and like, I gotta have the movie of the wood block being broken. But you can see you looking down consciously, looking down further than you would be. Normally you'd just be staring right at your daughter's face the whole time. But the block would have been completely out of frame.
Well, I always get nervous when I have to hold those blocks, so I'm surprised I didn't, because I don't want to mess up, so she has a bad experience, but, I always get really nervous and start sweating to make sure I hold it right. But it's more that, and I was trying to focus straight, and normally I would just kind of look around, watch the teacher, but I was trying to, not look away. So, but with soccer, when I do, pregame warm-ups, I just press it. I don't even think about it. It's just on. The only thing is that you can still see the video if you're looking up. It doesn't go away.
Oh.
So it's always on.
It shows you what it's recording.
Yeah, which I think that's another reason probably the battery kind of dies after a while. There's 10 sensors in here. I can't name them all. I don't know what they all do, but you might be able to see how many pull-ups you're doing if you're doing a pull-up all the way down. You can already do this, detect head movement.
I guess when we were talking about hey, the camera doesn't see what's down low or what's over here, you gotta stick another camera in place.
Oh, more cameras.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting.
When you're getting a call, can you shake your head no? Something like that?
No. When you get a call, you say. You get a ring and you say, "Okay, Glass," and it'll have two menu options. It'll say answer call or reject call, and you can just reject call. With my Moto X, I was kind of on Google Plus talking about this. There's a driver assist feature where you say, if I'm driving, just send them a text message, "Hey, I'm driving. I'll call you back," and that's what I typically do. Safety first. No, it's interesting, head gestures. I'm sure you can do a lot of apps with head gestures. I don't know how. Some of them may not be as practical, but depends what the use case is.
Related to what you were talking about with instruction work, I prototype a decision tree where everything's binary. So I have this really, really complicated decision tree, and documentation isn't there, but you should be able to go like this and actually navigate a decision tree. It's not part of the interface, but you do have access in the native API to drive that kind of traversal of some sort of network representation.
Right, using sensors in the native app, yeah. So some people are forging ahead and kind of taking advantage of the sensors now. It'd be native, like you would be writing an Android app. Yeah. There's a lot of open source. Yeah, there's a lot of open source, I think, things on GitHub that have examples. Well, definitely the Quick Start from Google. They have a bunch of examples in almost every language of how to create a glassware app. It's pretty straightforward. The trouble you have is, or the trouble I have is the UX part, how to make it clean and kind of simple. That's the only thing, or you ask your Explorer buddy, like I did, is like, can I, and then you spam them a whole bunch of times with a bunch of prototypes that you're doing.
But if you search around, apparently there's a couple of workarounds out there that allow you to jury-rig some sort of a mirror API simulator, or what you can do is just take Android 4.4 and skin your 640 by 360, and now there isn't any really documentation, but there's like 4 examples. Go to myclass/JDK.
Right, and then there's sites, and it'd be nice to have a tool that you can simulate everything like the bundles and the pagination and kind of fully utilizing the CSS. This is a basic playground tool they have here, but things like Glass SIM, you can go there and kind of see how it looks. Let me go there, and my buddy, I sent him there just to check it out. Glass.
Dave, can you share what's on your screen with his screen? You'd be like, oh, that's a funny picture. Check it out.
We have an inside joke. Yeah, so so this gives you the template and the cards. You kind of pick, and you can kind of save the pictures. So you don't have to use a playground, but I'm sure there's going to be other tools that crop up like this that some UI experts come up with. As far as sharing, I don't think right now you can, but like I was saying, it'd be pretty easy to put together an app. Like say 2 explorers are 15 meters apart, send them information between each other. So it's possible.
How many units are out there? How many people are walking around actually using this?
In here, I think 8 to 10,000. It was weird. I went to Charlottesville on the way back from one of those mud runs, the Spartan races, and me and my buddy, who are explorers, ran into someone from San Francisco that worked for Google who had glass on. So we were chatting. All of a sudden, this guy walking his dog also had glass. It was the weirdest thing. Like random. So everyone was staring at us like it was a planned thing. It was just on the corner at UVA. But I think I'm always surprised that people in big cities still don't know what it is, because I figured I was walking around New York and people were still like amazed. So I guess it's still not as many people have them.
Apps, do you have people selling these apps? Are they most free? How are people kind of developing a marketplace?
First step, create the apps. Third step, profit. I don't know what the second step is. So most of them are free. They are free because they forbid, not forbid, but there's a policy against kind of, spamming users with ads. I heard one app has actually made money with glassware. It's Fancy. With Fancy, the way it's supposed to work, if you're familiar, it's a kind of social shopping. You can take a picture of something like the kitchen, and you can see some whatever earth tones. I don't know my colors. Burnt sienna. And then it'll send you back a bunch of products that are matching your kitchen. And then you might say, there's definitely a buy. Oh, buy this thing. So I can definitely buy it if I hook it up on the website. So this is like a part to maybe a bigger picture of your web service. Sherwin-Williams kind of does the same thing, where you take a picture and it's like, oh, these paints, you took a picture of these flowers, here are the paints that match it. Now, here's the nearest Sherwin-Williams, please go. But I've thought of all kinds of apps with landscaping, gardeners. You're out in your garden, you take a picture, you like a flower, you say, does my nursery have it? Set it aside, buy it now. set up your favorite pizza place, have it everything connected with a simple script. Buy pizza. Okay, Glass, buy pizza. Buy 5 pizzas. You just wait for it. Perfect for Sunday, I guess. Yeah.
You might have talked about this, but where do you go to get apps?
There's no. I'll show you the My Glass official place, but they don't have a central boutique. I guess they're building it now. So here's my contacts that you kind of add in. You can see like parents and friends of mine. And then they have the glassware. The other way here. Here's the featured glassware, and you turn them on and off. Evernote is really useful. I take all kinds of notes with it. Scroll down a little bit. For some reason, I use L a lot. I just am interested in the UI. They have this thing called like a reading list. Look books, and you can kind of save articles for later. Velocity from Mashable. That's pretty cool because it only gives you trending stories. So it's not like spam. It's just when something gets hot, you kind of know about it. Like top 10 animated GIFs. I need to know that. Sports Yapper. I haven't really. These are the new crop. I haven't really played with them that much. I don't use mail because I don't use email that much anyway. Facebook. Facebook's really limited. I take a picture, share with Facebook. Maybe I could see if someone commented on that post. But it's not like I'm scanning my feed and kind of laughing. Google Plus, I do get posts of kind of people in certain circles. And I kind of see, okay, so if I get something here, it's because it's my kind of closer knit folks. Here's the fancy app. I guess I turned it off. Kitch Me, I think that's a good app, or will be, but it's one of those things that it's trying to solve a problem. You're in the middle of cooking, and then your iPad goes off, and you're trying to create some recipe, and you burn the garlic or something. But hands-free. If you could just look up and say, all right, do this next. Even a video would be kind of cool. Sure. Oh. I think people are making them. There's a bunch of explorers that are in the EMT field. They were working on I want to say it's MedWatch. I think I signed up for it. But it's like a CPR. So instruct you how to do CPR. As far as calling it, I'm sure you can make a script or some kind of glassware to call from find the nearest hospital. You can do that now just by saying, okay, Glass, Google nearest hospital or nearest police station, fire station. Yeah, I mean, it could just be proximity. It's like, all right, you're on your way. Everything, lights on, oven turns on, stoves on, doors unlocked. Cool. Thanks.